If you're a Cleveland Browns fan looking for a break from the emotional roller coaster that is the price we pay from loving then hating our Browns, then a big welcome to Cleveland Browns Anonymous, a group therapy podcast to help you survive the season. So let's start our meeting.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike and Brook, a couple days before Christmas. And once again, another loss. No surprise. Although there was some, what do you call it? Shoots of green, little shrubs popping up in the otherwise desolate landscape of Browns Nation. Go ahead, Brook.
Well, as our good buddy KGB would say, we were hanging around.
Yeah, hanging around. Got alligator blood in him. Go ahead, Mark. Put that in from Rounders. KGB, hanging around.
Enough is enough, Daddy. Finish the kid off.
Hanging around. Kid's got alligator blood. Can't get rid of him.
You know what? We just need a head coach. I mean, really. We need a head coach and this is the most important thing, a head coach. There's two important things. One, that they can recognize talent. And two, a head coach with some testosterone in him who's going to discipline the culture. So first of all, recognizing talent. You go back to the spring training. OTAs, training camp. I'm already thinking about the Guardians. So excuse the spring training reference, but 4 quarterbacks, one of them being Kenny Pickett. Really? Where is Kenny Pickett now? He's not hurt. He's behind Geno Smith, right? And the Browns had him tagged as the potential starter. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, who's in first place, another winning season, they gave up on Kenny Pickett, just like Sean Payton, I think right now number 2 seed in the AFC, going to the playoffs again. He basically fleeced the Browns with Jerry Jeudy, who then got a contract extension from Andrew Berry. Now, hey, I'll cut everybody some slack here. Andrew nailed the draft, but Stefanski is just some suit? Does he have a voice? Is he just a puppet on a string? Another one of these milquetoast head coaches that we've had for the last 20, 30 years that either don't say anything or play the parlor game of sticking the knife in somebody else's back, which is why Kyle Shanahan couldn't wait to lead Cleveland, the dysfunction when he was here. But look at this track record. They got Deshaun Watson. He's been terrible for the Browns. As I've said in past podcasts, they ruined Baker, right? They thought DTR was a steal in the 5th or 6th round. Mary Kay couldn't stop talking about this guy and about how many games he had played for 4 years at UCLA. Does that sound familiar? Dylan Gabriel? Here's another guy that played, he played 5 years. He was so wanted by the NFL that he played 5 years in college, right? Yet these guys we're entrusting them to make the right call on a quarterback and developing a quarterback, which is why it's imperative when the season's over and we're only going to win 3 games. We know that's going to happen. That Stefanski be given his walking papers, and the first thing the Browns do is have a testosterone-loaded head coach come in who's going to be a voice in the room. So when you grade Shedeur, as the title of this podcast says, you grade him on a curve because he has Stefanski and his group coaching him. right?
Right.
I mean, let's look at yesterday's game. Trust me, by the fourth quarter, the Buffalo Bills are not keeping an eye on the deep ball. I mean, those dump off passes, Judkins gets nailed, right? He gets whacked. These guys were covered like blankets. And yet we did not make one long pass. Did I miss something, Brooke? I don't recall any Shedeur just let it rip down the field to Isaiah Wan or Jerry Jeudy. Did I miss something?
I wonder if his finger being screwed up.
Okay. But even the first half, nothing. And you know what? And that's Kevin Stefanski's fingerprints all over that. That's what he did to Joe Flacco. The Cincinnati Bengals game. Dink and dunk. Dylan Sampson had a great game with the dink and dunks. And then once he traded Flacco, he goes over to Cincinnati. He throws for 400 yards. Now, yeah, they got better receivers, but they didn't let Joe be Joe and let it rip. They let Joe sign with the Colts last year because they didn't want to ruffle Deshaun's feathers in case he got booed for another bad game. So more cover your ass. In the 6 years that Kevin Stefanski has been head coach, even when Baker had a good year, it was a ball control, dink and dunk, fake to play, throw to Jarvis, right? Rashard Higgins. There was no deep action with the Browns. Am I missing something? Did I forget a year, Brooke?
I remember after they fired Hugh Jackson and Greg Williams and Freddie, didn't give a shit. They were letting it rip.
I remember one of the first games that Freddie was OC. I forget the game. I remember first play was a fake and throw 80 yards.
Yeah.
Was it
the Stefanski offense is very boring.
Yeah, and Alex Van Pelt with the Steelers. I mean, remember when they came into Tennessee and basically were just, what was that great hook and go that one of our wide receivers ran with wide open, 60-yard touchdown, Baker threw? It just, you know what? It is so, and this guy is supposed to be the offensive genius, right? But he's coming from the Mike Zimmer tree of the Vikings. He's coming from an organization that's buttoned down. Case Keenum, he did wonders for him. Jacoby Brissett, he got, he eked out some stuff with Jacoby. But, there's nobody that he's developed. So I say to develop Shedeur, we need a coach and a draft that's going to build a lot of pieces around. So I cannot wait for that number 2 pick. Let's do Jacksonville version 2.0. Let's trade that number 2 pick to some sucker team, maybe the Jets. They're always good for, maybe the Jets will be ahead of us. But you get some dumb, and maybe Oakland. Yeah, Oakland will give up some king's ransom, right? Tom Brady, he's dumb as rocks when it comes to running a front office. Al Davis's son, he's an idiot. So, maybe the Raiders will be up there. Maybe they'll be ahead of us. I don't know. What do you think, Brooke?
I mean, yeah, I agree 100%. I think you need that, like you said, really in your face type of head coach, kind of like a Mike Ditka-esque. I was rewatching the 85 Bears.
Oh, he's another dummy. Yeah.
Well, no, if you watch the 30 for 30 on the Bears, when they brought in Mike Ditka, I mean, he changed that whole team around.
Yeah, all I remember was All I remember was when he traded all his draft picks for that running back.
Oh, that was the second stint. He was older. He didn't really give a shit.
Yeah. I'll give him the first time around. I mean, he was Iron Mike,
But that's the kind of coach I want. I want a in your face, someone who's blue collar, someone who's emphasis on the defense, and you hire a really good, smart offensive guy. My takeaway from the game yesterday was I am completely comfortable with the Browns keeping Shedeur as their starter for next year.
Yeah, me too.
I loved how he handled his press conference yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, but
I did not see it. Enlighten me.
Well, the reporters was kind of, I forget who it was, but they, asked him a question. That was a little kind of throwing the coach under the bus, the team under the bus. And Shedeur, and I'm paraphrasing here, he really kind of took the high road and said, this is all about the team. I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
He didn't look scared. He didn't look like deer in the headlights. I think the players like playing with him. But there was a report that came out yesterday that there's a very good chance that Andrew Berry will be here next year and that he will have a much bigger role in the direction of who the head coach will be.
Good.
Which tells me that maybe there is some divide between Stefanski and Berry. And I think the writing's on the wall when he traded Joe Flacco.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at Stefanski. Stefanski would have played Flacco every game. Every game he would have played him. I was telling somebody the other day, Kevin seems like a super nice family guy. I've said this over and over. I know Riz has said this a lot. Nothing personal against Kevin. But Kevin is one of these guys who has reached his level of incompetence as a head coach. I really believe that, unless he can look in the mirror and make some fundamental changes. I mean, there are people out there who just are not cut out to be the head of an organization or a coach. They're a good company man. He's a company man with the Vikings. But he's the kind of guy that if you were, sometimes my wife and I will be coming home. It'll be a Saturday night. Maybe it's 11 o'clock. We're driving down like not a main road, but a semi-main road. If you're in Cleveland, say, South Woodland, or Shaker Boulevard, one of those main side streets. And you come to a traffic light. There's no traffic around. And I just say, hey, fuck it. I'm just going to drive through the red light. Kevin Stefanski would be sitting there. He'd be sitting there if it was 1 a.m. on a Sunday. Nobody around, waiting for the light to change. He is by the book. And he would have played Flacco. And unfortunately, Andrew Berry had to play, like you said, Moneyball. Carlos, you've been traded. There's a hole at first base now. We're putting Hatterberg in, right? Go ahead, Mark. Clip that line from Moneyball. Okay? So people remember that.
I can't throw the ball at all.
You're throwing your last ball from behind home plate, is what I'd say.
What?
Good news is, we want you at first. We want you to play first base for the Oakland A's.
Okay, well, I've only ever played catcher.
Scott, you're not a catcher anymore. If you were, our call wouldn't have been the only one you got when your contract expired.
Yeah, hey, listen, no, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
But the thing is,
you don't know how to play first base. Scott?
That's right.
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
Hey, anything worth doing is. And we're going to teach you.
Wait a minute here. I mean, what about, you?
Jason's gone, Scott.
You want me to take Giambi's spot at first base?
Yeah.
What about the fans?
Yeah, maybe I can teach one of them.
The fans don't... Good one. Fans don't run my ball club.
Honey, what are you doing away?
And that's, I think, okay, Andrew, listen. Andrew's got to learn how to be a total GM, a Ron Wolf type GM. And he's got to find his alpha dog as the head coach. And I'm thinking about all the just the incompetent stories over the years. You've heard me say this on these podcasts, the infamous Mike Pettin on the sidelines, getting a phone call from Ray Farmer in the middle of the game to play Manziel, right? You find out that later. Of course, Kyle Shanahan, like Mike Vrabel, is watching this, and they want no part of this dysfunction, right? And can you imagine Ray Farmer calling Bill Parcells? Can you imagine that? First off, he wouldn't even try, right?
Yeah, be too scared.
How about that great HBO on Vince Lombardi? When Lombardi's first training camp, the board of directors sends them a memo about some plays they should run. And how about this? How about playing this guy? And Lombardi just tears up the piece of paper, throws it on the ground, and says, I'll coach the goddamn team. That's who you need as a head coach. You don't need a eunuch. You know what a eunuch is, Brooke?
No.
A eunuch was a term, the high priest in Egypt during Cleopatra's time. They were castrated.
Oh.
They were castrated as the high priest because they didn't want them, cast any spells on Cleopatra or the queen or whatever. They were eunuchs. There was no balls there, right? And that's who the Browns have had as head coaches. You got Hugh Jackson, who was kind of like the clown. Dee Haslam loved this guy. Everybody in Oakland thought he was incompetent. Sashi Brown, to his credit, took a bullet. You've heard me say that before. But, think about the head coaches we have had. There is not one Vince Lombardi, Sean Payton, Bill Parcells, right? Tom Coughlin, Andy Reid, really? No. Head coach and GM have to be on the same page. And you shouldn't have to trade Flacco. Here's the other thing Andrew did. By not signing Flacco, who made that call last year? And then we had to suffer through not only Deshaun Watson's implosion, but we had to watch this great savior that Mary Kay was talking about, DTR, coming from UCLA, right? He's out of football now. So, that's the problem, folks. The head coach, the alpha coach. And also think about who we brought in last year to work with Deshaun. Ken Dorsey.
Yeesh.
Ken Dorsey, who was fired from the Buffalo Bills. He was fired from the Buffalo Bills because he was ruining Josh Allen. As soon as he left, they brought a new OC in. All of a sudden, the Bills are rolling. Remember when we fired that offensive coordinator to let Freddie take over? We let Alex Van Pelt go. We let Bill Callahan go. Who is making these calls? That's why you need a strong head coach who's got a vision, who when Clowney starts acting up on the sidelines, doesn't want to go in, he should have been sent to the locker room and suspended. When Braylon Edwards is throwing a fit, or Jerry Jeudy is throwing a fit, They should be sent to the locker room right away. And then during the press conference, just say he was acting like a 10-year-old. I gave him a timeout. When Judy starts dropping passes, they should have pulled him and put another guy in. Next man up, right? That's what a head coach is supposed to do. And most importantly, the head coach is supposed to recognize talent. Look at these young guys out there yesterday's game. When Quinshawn went down, you got Corley, Raheem Morris. Who was the guy who just, they couldn't wait to get in there and touch the ball, right?
Right.
Hey, let's stop here. We got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. Getting your house ready to sell, or you just need some basic repairs, and you can't get anybody to come out or even return your phone call. Then call Riley Painting and Contracting, your home mechanics, for all of your home repair needs, from electrical, plumbing, roof repairs, and getting your house ready to sell. 45 years in the business, a AAA on the Better Business Bureau, and we're on the preferred contractor list in Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights. You can contact us by calling 216-371-8160 and leave a message. And guess what? We'll call you back.
And that's what you need. That's what you need. That's what we're lacking. So let's not, hey, we need to protect Shedeur. I can tell you, Brooke, if we had Peyton Manning or a young Eli Manning coming in there under this current coaching staff, under Kevin Stefanski, they would wither on the vine.
Well, hopefully he won't be here next year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the media is going to have to start upping the questions in the press conference room. Like, why aren't you throwing long? Was his finger? Why aren't you stretching that defense out? Why are you becoming predictable in that fourth quarter? The fourth down plays are a joke, right? What are they, 0 for 6 now? Special teams costing the game again because of that missed field, because of that botched snap. Just never stops. These kind of dumb penalties, these dumb mistakes on the field. That's why you lose football games, because the margin of error is so slim. So
I got 2 games left, right?
Yep. Cincy and Pittsburgh. Look at Pittsburgh going on the road in Detroit. Yeah. Mike Tomlin, that organization, leadership in the clubhouse, they look like you could stick a fork into them a couple games again when Buffalo ran all over them. And Detroit's got a good offense, good running backs. They couldn't do anything. That Pittsburgh D just shut them down. Yeah, Pittsburgh finds a way to win. The Browns find a way to lose. That's been going on for years. That's a head coaching problem.
That's a culture problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a culture problem. It's too processed. Yeah, we have a process in place. I just saw Jimmy Haslam talking about how they draft Shedeur. Oh, no, we had a process in place. We have a process. No, when are you going to simply say our process sucks, right? We don't have any process. You got 4 quarterbacks. You're going to draft another one next year? We're changing offensive coordinators, play callers again?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all got to be new head coach and trade down, get another 2. You got 2 1s. How many 2s do we have? Yeah, there's an offensive tackle, there's a wide receiver, and there's a linebacker, another Carson Schlesinger.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're going to make the Super Bowl next year at all, but you have the chance to be a good to it an average to good team next year. It's not that hard. If you get the head coach right, you get, a couple wide receivers, offensive line in the draft, your defense is good. You have a kicker. The pieces are there. You just need the right head coach.
And you know what? And again, I'm a broken record on this. Quit the quarterback savior talk. That's been going on for 30 years here, ever since the Browns came back. It never ends. The revolving door is not at quarterback. It is at head coach, because we don't know how to pick a head coach. We haven't had a great head coach since Marty. And even he wasn't a great head coach. He never got in the Super Bowl. He was a very good head coach. Very good. He was not great. He's not Hall of Fame. He's not Sean Payton. He's not Bill Walsh. Marty, he brought in his brother, Bert. He let Lindy Infante go because he got jealous of Infante getting a lot of credit for Kozar's development, which he should have. Great head coaches like Andy Reid, like Bill Parcells, they love having great assistant coaches. Parcells had Bill Belichick. He supported him. He also kicked his ass from time to time on the sidelines. It'd be nice to see Stefanski do that with Jim Schwartz after his defense is getting shredded in the first half, right? You kind of wonder, when is Miles going to line up on the left side to prevent Josh Allen from rolling out to his right, which he loves to do, right? When are they going to make that adjustment? They made adjustment in the second half a little bit. But that's when you need a head coach saying, hey, Jim, what's going on here? That's Bill Parcells saying to Bill Belichick, Bill, come on. Call that play. There's an outtake on that, too, somewhere in YouTube. You need to feel that intensity and fire on the sideline. Sean Payton, you see that when they put the camera on. You see that with Parcells. You see that involvement up, down, Dan Campbell. That's what we need. And that's what we have not had in decades. So, yeah, we got to nail the head coach. That is the most important thing. And I'm fine with Jim Schwartz. I'm fine letting him come back for another go around. Your thoughts, Brooke?
Yeah, it's just a matter of, who's on this list. I could think of a couple names.
Well, one of the things you keep saying, I keep seeing in all these outtakes on YouTube, all these different Browns analysts, they're saying, hey, who's out there? Who's out there? He's right here. His name is Jim Schwartz. Okay? That's his name. Sit down and talk to him first. Yeah, that's my pick, not Chucky, Brooke. Don't give me Chucky.
Well, he's not my number one. I think Brian Flores was a culture guy. I think Robert Saleh got a shit deal with the Jets. He's a culture guy. And honestly, it could be some unknown, Like I remember when the Seahawks hired their head coach, I think his name's Mike McDonald. He was with Baltimore. They were like him. And look at them. The Seahawks are now the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, don't forget the Seahawks organization, Brooke. They're the ones that brought back Pete Carroll, who took them to the Super Bowl. Little known fact. Legion of Doom, secondary. Young Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll coming back from the debacle I mean, he was the coach of the New England Patriots before Belichick, and he was just hapless. And then Belichick came in, and Belichick was hapless, folks, with the Browns. His career was in the toilet, and Robert Kraft brought him in. And Bill Belichick was very chastened by his experience with the Browns. Suddenly he had a great owner, Bob Kraft, and he had a great organization working with him. And then, Bill Belichick, he was not the coach like that at the Browns. He drafted poorly. He tried to do everything. It's that typical first-time owner, first time you're running a company, you're just doing everything and anything. You don't know how to delegate. You don't know how to recognize talent. You don't know how to develop talent. You see that in all walks of life. Restaurants, these guys are maniacs. These people are maniacs. You need a whole village there. And that's what the Patriots had. They had, and I'll give Belichick credits. He recognized Tom Brady. He stuck with Brady. And Kraft supported that. Modell, he was hapless. But, when you think about the great head coaches, Jimmy, and when you think about great head coaches, do a deep dive into what the common denominators are with these people. And they know how to recognize the little things that make a difference in the culture of a team and a locker room. I mean, they're amateur psychologists. Jimmy Johnson, Parcells. I know, again, broken record time. But they know how to nurture talent, recognize talent, and they work hand in glove with the GM. That's why the 49ers are a solid team. And you're going to have a lot of injuries. I mean, Detroit lost to Pittsburgh yesterday. I mean, they've just been decimated by injuries. So coaching at the second level is even more important. To take those third stringers and make them starters. It's that next man up quality. So if you don't have, and you got to wonder, why was Alex Van Pelt let go? So, no more Mr. Nice Guy, Andrew. Don't play nice with OBJ. I don't care if you want to get traded. I don't care. You're not getting traded. All right? And if you don't give you 100%, you're on the bench. Right? That's the kind of person we need on the sidelines. So the Browns, I don't care if we get to the Super Bowl. I'm just tired of losing the way we're losing. We're losing stupid. You just know we're going to lose. You just don't know how we're going to lose. Are we going to give up a long drive? Are we going to botch the snap? Are we going to do a bunch of dink and dunks with Shedeur in the fourth quarter? Are we going to do something novel? Or are we going to stay with the predictable play call? That would be success for me next year, where we actually have some meaningful games this time of year. So we're going to have to start looking, get your Mel Kiper impression.
Yeah.
So I know it's broken record time. I'm going to have to start doing some deep dives and
Start looking up head coaches. I know, but look up some other guys besides your guy, Jim Schwartz.
Yeah. Okay, I will. I'd love to get that guy from Indiana.
Oh, he's not going anywhere.
I know.
They just pay him.
I mean, look at Signetti. I mean, what's the guy's name? Signetti?
Yeah.
I mean, every place he goes, he wins. That's who you look for. You look for a guy who's just, And, I got to say, Nick Saban, as well as he did in Alabama, he crashed and burned with Miami. But then again, Miami, their ownership group is terrible. So if you're a head coach, you got to be, with Jim Schwartz, he knows he's not going to get another head coaching opportunity. unless he goes to the
doesn't want
Browns.
it.
Maybe he doesn't want to, but I have a feeling I'd be shocked if he didn't. I don't think he wants his career to be, well, he failed as a head coach, but he was a good defensive coordinator. I think he really, Rex Ryan's another guy, plain talking, culture guy. I would be open to that. But just a booming voice in the room. That's what you need. And I'd be shocked if Jim Schwartz didn't want them. And so that's what the Browns should be looking for. Somebody who wants, like Mike Vrabel. They could have had Mike Vrabel. They could have told Kevin, hey, you know what? This was a disaster. We need to move it in another direction. Gotten Vrabel getting the same page with Andrew Berry. There you go. Vrabel brings back Alex Van Pelt, maybe Bill Callahan, whatever. He starts combing the NFL wilderness for just these great coaches. Maybe they flamed out as a head coach, but they just have so much. Bill Callahan was a head coach. He flamed out, right?
Yep.
But these guys have been around. They've been around.
That's why I think like a Robert Saleh would be a good fit.
Right. Yeah.
Or even to a Brian Flores. You got a raw deal in Miami.
Hey, that's how the Oakland Raiders, when Al Davis was the owner, they thrived picking up rejects. The Mad Stork, Ted Hendricks, this is way ahead of your time. He got let go. Jim Plunkett, they picked up off the scrap heap. He beat the Browns in the famous Red Right 88 game, led them to the Super Bowl. I mean, he just picked up these retreads. They drafted smart. They got Fred Biletnikoff, Hall of Fame wide receiver. He never dropped a pass. I think the first thing the Browns are going to do, they're going to get a leader and wide receiver. We don't necessarily need another Lamar Chase. We need somebody like a Jarvis Landry. That's who Dorsey picked, right?
Yep.
He signed him. He brought him into the locker room. All of a sudden, that's a culture change there.
Yeah. Well, you got a young team. You got a great draft. You're going to have a high pick. You got 2 1s. You're going to have a high 2. This is fixable.
Right. Do we have another 2?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
We got to get another 2. A 1 and a 2.
Well, if you get the number 2 pick or the number 1 pick, the Jets have all that ammunition. So
yeah,
just keep fucking losing. Get that high pick in front of the Jets or in front of the Raiders.
Yeah. Trade it down.
That's how you do it. And Andrew Berry, do what you did last year's draft.
Right. So, yeah. We got a lot of blue collar needs, right?
Yeah.
Linemen.
You need a lineman. You need a wide receiver.
Yeah. And another linebacker. Any word on JOK, whether his career's over?
I haven't checked that. But
and who knows? Yeah. Who knows? You get a new head coach who can start putting the coaching on Deshaun Watson, who's been coddled. He was coddled in the Texan organization. He was coddled when he came over the Browns. No, he's not playing. Shedeur's our number 1. Deshaun's number 2. Yeah. Next question, right? Next question. That's it. And you gotta win that job because your play has been terrible. And let's see how Deshaun responds. This guy needs a wake-up call, and that's what a head coach is for. And they're watching him. They're coddling him. They're getting rid of Van Pelt. They're getting, they're changing, bringing in Dorsey, changing the whole offense to make it friendly. And he got worse. Right?
That is terrible.
Absolutely terrible. He should have been sat down like Baker. Baker should have been sat down after that Lions game. So I know we're just keep regurgitating the same thing. It's the head coach, stupid. And right now, Shedeur's doing well in spite of the head coach. That's grading on a curve. Final thoughts, Brooke?
Shedeur. Shedeur, baby.
All right, let's get a little Mel Kiper. We got a little Mel Kiper spice next week. We start start doing some late Christmas shopping. All right.
Oh, Mel loves him some Shedeur. So.
All right, Mark. You got a couple of takes to get. So,
Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right, Merry Christmas. Safe Christmas, and we'll talk next week, Brooke.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Cleveland Browns Anonymous podcast with Mike Riley. We have a lot more content on the way as we get this new podcast started. You can also check out some of our other podcasts, like the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast, and other new ones that will start soon. On any platform that you find yourself listening to us on, feel free to leave us a like or comment or follow us. It always helps.